polar opposite for Glenn Lanham's club. They've got some upperclassmen, a graduate student, 5 seniors, 7 juniors, but they're still kind of young in terms of match experience, particularly at a couple of weight classes with the fine silvers being here for so long.
Right. And that's tough, you know, as a coach. You look to those guys, you rely on those guys, and now you have to have some of these guys who hadn't stepped up in leadership positions the years before, and now they have to step up. And part of that's on the staff, but a big part of that is on the athlete. They have to be willing to step up. They have to be willing to commit to the work, to not only lead by example, but also be more vocal. And there's a lot that type of role requires.
Kind of going back to North Carolina and their veteran leadership, Coleman Scott, the North Carolina head coach, was talking to us about that earlier this week. Said, you know, those younger guys, those freshmen, they can just come in the room and really absorb everything that these older guys are teaching them. You think about Austin O'Connor a moment ago, the NCAA champ, and just the leadership that he provides and what the younger wrestlers in Chapel Hill are going to learn just by being around him this season.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Whether you are vocal or whether you lead by example, I think just having someone there to kind of show you the ropes, or someone that you can observe and watch. I know one thing for me that was really, really helpful was having a teammate like Nick Wisdowski, 2-time NCAA champ for NC State, 3-time NCAA finalist. And when he had come to NC State, he hadn't won a national title yet. And for me to be in the same room working with a guy who had won 2 national titles, I was like, he's in here doing the same workouts and winning at the highest level. Why can't I? And I think that's super important. And you have that in a guy like Austin O'Connor being in the room.
But some of it is on you as a younger wrestler, right?
Absolutely.
To take some of the onus to try to pick the brain of that older wrestler.
You have to. You have to. I think coaches can only develop you so much. And not to take away from the match here, but the responsibility and the discipline required is on you as an athlete. No one can make you make the right decisions outside of the room when you're not under the supervision of the coaching staff. And being a college coach is a tough job. Your livelihood depends on 18 to 22-year-olds to be mature and to make the right decisions when they're not under the supervision of the staff, to help put themselves in a position to not only expedite their development, but to win.
Nice return to neutral there. In this bout here at 165, Gabe Dinette for Duke. Joey Mazzara of North Carolina. Mazzara 10-2 last year, 2-0 in duels for North Carolina. Dinette, the Stanford transfer in his second season in Durham.
A little bit of a slow start here.
And Dinette, a guy for Duke, kind of working his way back. Had a tough first semester, missed most of the first semester with an elbow injury. Glenn Lanham said he works really hard, really gritty. And they're very anxious to see what they're going to get out of Dinette here at 165. And this is one of those weight classes for North Carolina that's still kind of up in the air. Coleman Scott was talking about how this is one of those classes where North Carolina needs to have someone step up and just take the role. They've been bouncing back around between a couple of different wrestlers here at 165, and right now they're just looking to see who's going to be the one that's going to be the starter at this weight class.
Yeah, tough position to be in as a coach, because you want a guy to separate himself to make your decision easier. And you don't want to play the favorites game, and you put it on the athletes to kind of separate themselves and determine who the starter is going to be.
How the athletes know it too, that it's a position and a weight class that's up for grabs. Is there any added pressure to try to perform to make sure that you're the one that is the starter once you get into March?
Absolutely, man. You know, you care so much as an athlete. You put in a lot of work. You don't want to let an opportunity slip through your fingers, and so you worry so much about not making any mistakes, and sometimes that might stop you from opening up. You know, I'm so concerned about not giving up a score. You get so concerned about, you know, taking a bad shot and losing the lead that you don't open up at all.
And by open up, you mean be more aggressive from an offensive standpoint?
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Sorry about that. But, yeah, just when I mean open up, I mean just, you know, taking chances, taking risks, you know, putting yourself in a position to score. Maybe my setup's not the best, but maybe I should just take a shot attempt, and hopefully I can get to a leg. And you never know.
There was a shot attempt there, got to a leg, got 2 points.
Beautiful shot attempt there, and he's continuing to build his lead. He's up 5-0. He's building his riding time, and there's still a minute left in the period.
Second period here of this bout at 165. North Carolina in firm control of the match, as you can see in the right-hand portion of your screen.
Yeah, looking for the mat return here.
And and ushered out. They'll return to neutral here in the middle.
Nice fast-paced walk back to the center of the mat.
Dinette chooses down.
Yep, chooses down. Great job getting wrist control.
Gets the reversal there.
Squaring up and facing. Now, as a guy in the hand fight, you want to try your best to control the inside. When you control the inside and you have head position, it's really, really difficult for your opponent to get on offense. It's easier for you to create opportunities. Notice how Dinette had the inside control, had the head position, decides to change levels, takes a nice, beautiful shot with high crotch, with his head outside, gets in deep. Unfortunately, didn't finish, which is, you know, that's kudos to Mazzara for doing a good job sitting the corner, defending, and getting on his counter offense. But still, you got to give credit to Dinette there. He took the risk. It was a beautiful shot attempt. He got it very, very deep. You just got to be a little bit faster when you get to the leg. You don't want to take too long. When you take too long trying to work for the score, you give your opponent an opportunity to change the position. And now he's putting himself in an advantageous position to get the score. Digging the underhook there. The underhook is such a dominant tie. Now Dinette is getting in there. And the reason why it's dominant is because you can't really do a whole lot there when you're giving up the underhook. The guy's tight to your body. You can't really move a whole lot. You want to get out, but he's keeping you in. You want to start to look for offense, and he's
a big two-point takedown there.
He's keeping his chest down. But some guys, like the Heidley brothers at NC State, they do a phenomenal job. It's a very dominant position there for them. They do a good job controlling, and you kind of saw a great job there by Mazzara looking for the far side knee pick. He had the underhook, and what he did there was he elevated that side of the body, got it up to create a little bit of space, and once he had the space, he reached to that far side leg to trip him over and get him down to his hip so he could get him down to the mat in a swift manner. And there you go. You saw that. You got the two there.
Goes back to now for Duke, what we talked about earlier, just winning the position. And there's Dinette there, getting out, getting the point.
Yep.
And that's a big point. Obviously now a 7-point differential. North Carolina looking for some more bonus points here. And a moment ago had the 8-point advantage. Still a minute to go in this period.
Good defense there by Dinette. He's got his head in the hole, and this is a really, really effective short offensive attempt here, looking for the offense. You got so much pressure down on the top half of your opponent's body, and what's hard about this position here is it almost feels like you get choked out. It's so tight when you're starting to circle around and there's so much pressure. It's hard for the bottom guy who's got his head trapped to move. Now, Mazzara did a good job still managing to get out, which was a surprise to me. If I was Dinette in that position, I would have used my right arm to at least tried to reach for the leg. And I could have just switched off, and maybe I could have ended up on a single leg or just on a leg in general and just changed the position to give myself another opportunity to score. But both guys doing a good job here wrestling.
Gets the 2 points there, now up 11-2. Final 8 seconds of this final period. And it'll be, unless Dinette can get a couple points here, it'll be another major decision for North Carolina as they continue to add to their total. Caution there. And for Mazzara, just trying to ride out the final 3 seconds.
Really good forward pressure here you see by Mazzara. Just making himself feel super, super heavy on top, making it hard for Dinette to kind of work his way back up to his feet at the end there.
So another big win for North Carolina. Tar Heels continue to pace the match.
Really, really good job closing out the match there by Mazzara. But what I do like that I'm seeing from the Duke guys is, regardless of what the score is, these guys are wrestling whistle to whistle. You don't see them lay down.